My name is Scott Fraser. I am the founder of Empowered Products back in March 1st, 2002. And this was a company that I founded based on my experience in the Marine Corps in the Persian Gulf. When I returned back from overseas in '92, I went off into the stock market. 10 years later, with extra capital, I would start this company that I always wanted to start based on the experience that we had as Marines and with what we used to store in the butt plate of our M16s, which we called gun oil, was a silicone lube for your gun actually, and then we created one that was for intercourse and interpersonal communication. The Wax Shack, yep, that was, I was a platoon commander, and we were a combat engineer battalion, or a platoon, and we were assigned to infantry battalions. So we would join the infantry battalion, go overseas, we'd be in the Philippines, South Korea, we'd be all over Southeast Asia. And the great thing about that is that, yes, you're out in the field doing serious work of the Marine Corps, but when you're on leave or liberty, you got to go into Olongapo, Subic Bay, Sada Heap, Itaewon in Korea, and have a great time. There was wine, women's song, or dudes, wine and song, whatever you're into. Then all of a sudden, in August of 1990, we're all about to rotate back to the United States, and we get the call that Hussein had invaded Kuwait. So all of a sudden, we all stop. All our troop transition stopped, wherever we're being transferred to, and we all have to get on a plane and go to it was a place called Jubail, Saudi Arabia, which is just below the Kuwaiti border with Saudi Arabia. And there was nothing. I mean, there was literally nothing. We built everything there. It was a patch of sand. We could see the Gulf off to our right, and there was no social life, nothing. There was no booze, no dirty magazines, absolutely nothing. So we had a real morale problem. I was depressed. My men were depressed, and then I happened to be cleaning my own M16 and popped out the plate, and we always had this thing called gun oil, but it was a slang term for it, but it was silicone. It would keep the carbon off of your bolt. I masturbated with it, and and at that point I was like in my sleeping bag. I thought it'd be nice to have a facility for us to go to, right? But each Marine gets to spend 10 minutes, at a time down there. So we built this wax shack. Went 2 stories down, nice and cool. It's 120 degrees outside with flies and disgusting and nothing. And then you would have just your 2 hands, and you'd go down there for 10 minutes, and it was really wonderful. And then you put a little ammo can on the sandbag, and that makes sure no one walked in on you there. And so it was a place you could go for sanctuary. And we even had the lowliest Marine at the time would have to rake the sand at 4 o'clock. It was a ritual. And then when a new Marine would join for combat engineers from Camp Lejeune, Courthouse Bay, he would get the rake, and everyone kind of laughed because he's got to rake the sand. And that became folklore, and that became also something very special to us. And as far as morale goes, that's how we got through. And then, at my Marine Corps reunions, we all hearken about the wax shack, and it was there for us, and to this day that rake is in a place of honor in Washington D.C. I'm not going to mention his name because he's high up in the government, but the final Marine that had to rake the sand has that rake in a place of honor in his office in Washington D.C. I did name my hands. I said everyone should name their hands. At that point, when you got mail from the United States, from your family, the Saudi censors would go through it. There was one guy with a Corvette magazine, and there was a girl in a bikini on the cover sitting on the Corvette, and they marked that out. I mean, they stymied us. We couldn't get any material. So we had our imaginations and we had our hands. Now for me, I named, this was Rhonda, and Rhonda would do whatever I want, straight up, It's always good to know Rhonda, right? And then Louise was intellectual, right? And she was a little reserved, but if you kind of peeled back the onion a bit, she'd go nuts. And every now and then I'd invite Rhonda and Louise to come over. Sometimes the girls would fight over me, right? And there was a lot of, you had to have your own theater there. That's the only way you got through, because you're spending 20 hours a day up on the surface, right? Just staring into the desert. And so everyone named their hands. And then eventually we did get, like, I think we got a Victoria's Secret catalog through, and we all laminated a picture, and you put it right there. And then for the gay Marines, we got magazines through. The censors weren't watching the scantily clad men on magazines, but the women. But everyone eventually had something in their pocket, laminated, just in case it was, a blowback, and you want to be able to wash it off. But you all had it in your pocket right over your heart. That's what helped us get through.
Gun oil.